come on, man.
Dikembe.
Be for real, you haven't got me yet.
Huh?
Mike,
Dikembe. Don't even try it.
You want me to go call Scotty?
You have to call Scotty.
Boy.
What you gonna call Scotty for? I haven't got you recently. Yeah, I agree with
No,
that.
you haven't got me in 6 years. 1, 2, 3, just go ahead and say it. You can take the camera off because he doesn't want it to be in the camera.
I want you to listen to this and go back in the archives and get it. And show it up. Dikembe.
No.
Never.
He said, I'll get you one day.
No. He never dunked on you. He never put you on the highlight.
No.
No.
He said, I would love to give you my poster, but it's not happening.
It's not going to happen. You know he's lying. It's never going to happen. Come on, man. All right, we're going to cancel your green.
Boy, this guy from here.
They told him he couldn't because he had never done it before. And Mutombo dared him to. He's never dunked on me, he said. But that was a mistake because Michael Jordan wasn't just the best basketball player to ever walk on earth. He was much more than that. He was a monster of revenge. And what happened next in Game 5 of the 1997 Eastern Semifinals turned into one of the coldest dunks in NBA history. Although more than a dunk, it was a message, a poster, a warning, a reminder. Don't talk trash to Michael Jordan, ever. At the 1997 All-Star Game, Dikembe Mutombo leaned in before the game and poked the beast. "You never dunked on me," he teased Jordan. The crowd laughed. MJ chuckled. But more than a laugh of surrender, that laugh meant something else. It was a promise. Who in their right mind would taunt a 7'2" shot-swatting tower, 4-time All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year? He had patrolled the paint for years. Nobody wanted to try him. And Jordan? He was already 34 years old. He was no longer that kid who could jump over anyone. But MJ had something no other player could have, a mindset that made none of that matter. The GOAT had accepted the dare. It's not that Jordan had much left to prove at that point in his career. He was already considered the GOAT. He had just won his 9th scoring title. He had been NBA champion 4 times, and it looked like the 5th was on its way after he had led the Bulls to record 69 wins and 13 losses in 1997. There was no one who could touch him. However, there was one team that had a player who might be the only one capable of containing Jordan. The Atlanta Hawks were no longer a one-man team. That era had come to an end when they decided to trade Dominique Wilkins to the Clippers after MJ had beaten the Hawks for the umpteenth time. Now, they were a perfectly balanced group. Steve Smith, Mookie Blaylock, and Christian Laettner ensured that they had one of the best offenses in the NBA. But their big man, the 7'2" defensive menace Dikembe Mutombo, made sure they were arguably the best defense in the entire NBA. A player so powerful as a rim protector that Michael Jordan had never been able to put him on a poster. When the playoffs arrived, the Chicago Bulls and the Atlanta Hawks would face each other in the second round of the Eastern Conference, and Michael Jordan demonstrated the superiority we had come to expect from him. The Bulls won Game 1, Game 3, and Game 4, while the Hawks were only able to give Chicago a scare by winning at home in Game 2. However, this series was not over yet, and Michael Jordan still remembered that phrase Dikembe Mutombo had said to him at the All-Star Game. So on May 13, 1997, the Hawks and the Bulls faced off at the United Center in Chicago for what could be the decisive game of the series, or at least that was Jordan's idea. But it was clear that wasn't Dikembe Mutombo's idea, who was eager to do whatever it took to extend the series. The hype was huge, but the fans who watched the game never regretted being glued to their TV sets. Why? Come with me, and you'll understand. The Bulls' pregame pep talk proved what everyone already knew. They had the confidence of champions. That determination you can only have when you've already proven your dominance in the past. Something that usually only happens in dynasties. So, when the moment of truth arrived, when referee Ed T. Rush tossed the ball into the air, Michael Jordan knew his time had come. His moment to conquer Mount Mutombo. Now, we all know that patience was not Michael's virtue when he had something to prove. And in the first play of the game, we realized that. Because after a great entry pass from sophomore Jason Caffey, MJ got his box score started for the night. Moments later, showtime began. Because Ron Harper, after grabbing a defensive rebound, threw a perfect outlet pass to Scottie Pippen, who finished with a dunk that brought the United Center crowd to its feet. What they didn't know, though, was that one of the greatest highlights of Michael Jordan's career was about to take place on that hardwood. Longley tipped an offensive rebound in MJ's direction. The shooting guard caught the ball and connected with Luke on the give and go. But when he got the ball back, he tried it. What seemed impossible for everyone, what no player dared to do. Jordan went straight to the hoop to hammer it down on Dikembe Mutombo's head. Jordan got his poster. Then he did the legendary finger wag of the Congolese in disrespectful mode, like mocking him, like saying, "Remember when you talked that shit on the All-Star game?" Because I do remember it. And the United Center exploded in joy. The television broadcast showed the play from every possible angle. They knew what it meant. But the game and Michael's show had to go on. If you've seen videos of the channel, you know that MJ had no rival from mid-range. He was able to find his spots off the dribble, and he loved that left elbow. When he got there, you knew he would get his bucket. Now, from the other side, he was just as dangerous. Look at how Michael receives the entry pass from Harper for the ISO against Steve Smith. And after using his always lethal jab step, he's able to create the space he needs to pull up without even dropping the ball on the floor. Not only that, but he gets the and one. Now, imagine how pumped up the Bulls players were when Dennis Rodman knocked down a three from the top of the key moments later. And that's not all. On the next trip, he goes for the heat check and hits it again. I mean, during that regular season, good old Dennis had only scored 5 3-pointers in 55 games. Against the Hawks, he knocked down 2 in less than a minute. Although, to be honest, on the second one, he stepped on the line. But don't worry, he would have the chance to redeem himself later. That dunk by Jordan on Mutombo had completely changed the game. The Bulls were in their element. It seemed like the players were having fun instead of playing seriously. And Michael Jordan took advantage of that to keep feeding his teammates with great looks. Check out this play, where MJ drives, then throws a great pass to Bison Dele, who, by the way, wasn't really Bison Dele yet. He was still Brian Williams. Now, even though the game was an offensive exhibition for the Bulls, Michael kept pushing on defense. Every Hawks pass was an opportunity to steal the ball and gain an advantage. And that's exactly what Michael did on this play, where he even has the nerve to look back at the helpless Atlanta players while he goes for the easy dunk. Incredibly, just before halftime, Rodman was still knocking down threes as Christian Laettner looked in disbelief. It looked like there was a hidden camera. But no, Dennis Rodman just happened to be a lethal shooter that night. I'd like to tell you it was a close game. I'd like to tell you that Jordan had to step up in the second half to lift the Bulls, as he used to do every year in the playoffs. But no, the only reality was that the Bulls were blowing the out of the Hawks. With a 16-point lead on the scoreboard, everything pointed to Game 5 being the last of the season for the Atlanta Hawks. When the third quarter began, the Bulls didn't change their attitude one bit. It looked like Jordan was toying with the Hawks. I mean, look at this. He calls for patience after an offensive rebound, trying to calm things down in a game that didn't need to get crazy. But in the most unexpected moment, he throws a perfect pass to Luke Longley's cut. But even though he was trying to let his teammates enjoy themselves and gain confidence that night, he also had to take on the offensive responsibility that the Bulls needed. After a pass from Scottie Pippen, he knocks down a difficult three from the top of the key. And just moments later, he receives a pass on the baseline that he converted into 2 points with a pull-up jumper in which Michael seemed to be levitating in the air. There was certainly little you could try against him at that point in his career. Michael remained aggressive, hitting difficult shots throughout the third quarter, such as this fadeaway that he was able to hit while guarded by 2 Hawks players. But he also brought calm when it was needed, because Rodman and Mutombo were elbowing each other whenever they could, and Michael had to be the one to calm Dennis down. I mean, I don't think Rodman paid much attention to many players, but it was clear that Jordan was the exception. We can even see how he says, "I'm all right." Meanwhile, MJ continued to give a masterclass in court vision with this pass to Steve Kerr, who knocks down the three coming off the screen on the weak side, a play they repeated right after. Jordan goes over his defender, Mookie Blaylock, and finds one of the best shooters in the world wide open on the right wing again. You know what they say, same spot, same result. A dagger that came just before the end of a game that was already decided. The Bulls hadn't just beaten the Hawks, they had destroyed them. But even more importantly, Jordan had also won his personal battle with Dikembe Mutombo. In reality, Michael's performance was not a statistical anomaly. He had 100 better stat lines in the playoffs, where he always gave more than 100% to help the Bulls achieve their goals. However, that night he proved much more than just a scorer capable of getting you out of a tough spot. With 24 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals, Jordan buried the Hawks several feet below the floor. He proved that being a leader means leading by example, and his dunk on Dikembe Mutombo was the perfect spark to prevent Chicago from getting into a difficult situation. The Bulls, of course, won their 5th championship a few weeks later. Michael continued his unstoppable pace in a career where he was only competing against himself. And the Hawks? Man, the Hawks! They ended up falling into obscurity. They tried for a couple more seasons with Lenny Wilkins at the helm, but the team lacked the talent to make it out of the East when April rolled around. That dunk by Michael Jordan on Dikembe Mutombo meant much more than just a poster. Jordan soared above Mount Mutombo, the final gatekeeper in a line of Georgetown Giants who had haunted the paint for years. Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning, and Dikembe Mutombo, all posterized, all conquered. At 34, he was still one of the best athletes in the league, and for that reason, the Bulls were destined to win their second three-peat. MJ proved that the GOAT didn't age, he evolved. And on May 13, 1997, he decided to close a chapter. With that dunk, he made sure the world remembered. So let's settle this. Was Jordan's revenge dunk over Mutombo the most disrespectful poster of his entire career? Or was it that soul-snatching slam over Ewing? Or maybe it's your own favorite, one that still lives rent-free in your head to this day. Drop your pick in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. Let's see which dunk the GOAT fans crown as the most savage ever. If you live for legendary breakdowns, epic rivalries, and the moments that made basketball history, subscribe to First 5 Hoops and join a community of real basketball fans. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with all our latest content. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.